The air crackled with tension. Smoke filled the dimly lit bar. Rough-edged bikers clad in leather vests filled every corner. The iconic Death's Head insignia glinted under the dim lights, a chorus of agreement, a symphony of clinking glasses. This was the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. The saga of the Hells Angels ignited on March 17, 1948, in the turbulent wake of World War II. Fontana, California emerged as the crucible for this infamous brotherhood. War-scarred veterans sought refuge and meaning in the thunder of engines and the endless horizon. And thus the Hells Angels were born. The name itself became a badge of honor. These men swiftly gained infamy. They became a symbol of defiance, challenging the status quo and living life on their own terms. The Hells Angels' notoriety grew with each passing year. They became synonymous with rebellion. Their clashes with the law were legendary, adding fuel to their infamous reputation. A deep-seated loyalty bound them together, a brotherhood that transcended the roar of engines. Their story was far from over.
Treat me good, I'll treat you better. Treat me bad, and I'll treat you worse. Freedom is what we all seek, but it's what we do with that freedom that ultimately defines our character. In the end, a man's character cements his fate, good or bad. Words of Sonny Barger himself. The years following World War II were a time of both hope and unease. Returning soldiers, forever marked by the horrors they witnessed, struggled to find their place in a rapidly changing world. In Fontana, California, a small industrial town east of Los Angeles, a group of these veterans found solace and brotherhood in the rumble of their Harley-Davidsons. These men, seeking an escape from the mundane and a return to the camaraderie they experienced in the war, formed the nucleus of what would become the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club.
Driven by a shared sense of restlessness and a yearning for something more, they found purpose in their shared passion for motorcycles and their disdain for societal expectations. Among them were individuals like Otto Friedli, a name that would forever be etched in Hells Angels lore. Friedli, a former member of the Pissed Off Bastards, another motorcycle club, envisioned a different kind of brotherhood, one built on unwavering loyalty and a shared thirst for freedom. He sought to create a club that embodied the spirit of rebellion, a brotherhood of outlaws who lived by their own code and answered to no one but themselves. And so, on March 17, 1948, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club was born. The date, St. Patrick's Day, a day often associated with revelry and challenging authority, seemed fitting for the birth of a club destined to become synonymous with rebellion and defying convention. Little did they know that their brotherhood, forged in the heart of Southern California, would evolve into a global phenomenon, their influence echoing through the decades and leaving an indelible mark on motorcycle culture and beyond. Embracing the skull and wings, the power of symbols and rituals. From the outset, the Hells Angels understood the power of symbols. They chose the Death's Head, a winged skull, as their emblem, a provocative symbol that embodied both the thrill of life on the edge and the ever-present shadow of mortality. This striking image, often emblazoned on their leather vests, became a badge of honor, a symbol of defiance and a source of both fear and fascination for outsiders. Beyond the Death's Head, the Hells Angels cultivated an array of rituals and traditions that served to strengthen their bonds and set them apart from mainstream society. Their motorcycles, often customized Harley-Davidsons, became extensions of themselves. Each bike a unique expression of individuality within the collective identity of the club. They embraced a life on the open road, embarking on epic rides that spanned states and tested their endurance, these journeys becoming legendary tales within the club's history. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, despite its notoriety, operated on a strict, unwritten code of conduct. This code, passed down through generations, served as the bedrock of their brotherhood. At the heart of this code lay the principle of loyalty. Loyalty to the club and its members was paramount, a bond considered sacred. This loyalty was demonstrated through actions and unwavering support in times of need. Respect, both within the club and towards those who earned it, formed another cornerstone. They held deep respect for those who demonstrated strength and integrity. Underpinning these principles was a deep-seated defiance of authority. They valued their freedom and fiercely resisted any attempts to control them. This unique blend of loyalty, respect, and defiance shaped the Hells Angels into a force to be reckoned with. The 1950s roared to life with the Hells Angels at the forefront of a burgeoning subculture. California, a land of sunshine and opportunity, became a breeding ground for rebellion. And the Hells Angels, with their leather jackets, roaring Harleys, and uncompromising attitude, became icons of this new wave of defiance. As the club gained notoriety, chapters began to spring up throughout the Golden State. San Francisco, with its bohemian spirit and history of challenging convention, became a stronghold for the Hells Angels. The Oakland chapter, established in 1957, would rise to prominence under the leadership of a charismatic and shrewd young biker named Ralph "Sonny" Barger.
Ralph "Sonny" Barger, a name synonymous with the Hells Angels, emerged as a pivotal figure in the club's history. Barger, with his piercing blue eyes and rugged good looks, possessed a natural charisma that commanded respect.
Under Barger's leadership, the Oakland chapter became a dominant force within the Hells Angels, and he quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a unifying figure for the club. He recognized that the Hells Angels needed a sense of cohesion, a common purpose that transcended local rivalries. He sought to unite the disparate chapters under a single banner to create a brotherhood that was stronger together than apart. The 1960s marked a turning point for the Hells Angels as their notoriety grew in the United States. Their influence began to spread beyond California. The seeds of an international brotherhood were sown in countries like New Zealand, England, and Canada, where chapters began to emerge, drawn to the Hells Angels' potent blend of freedom, rebellion, and brotherhood. This expansion was fueled by the Hells Angels' association with the counterculture movement. Their image as outlaws and their embrace of freedom resonated with a generation disillusioned with the status quo. The Hells Angels became a powerful export, a symbol of American rebellion that resonated globally. The 1960s roared to life, a decade pulsating with change and upheaval. The Hells Angels, already icons of rebellion, found themselves at the heart of a cultural earthquake. The counterculture movement, with its rejection of traditional values and its embrace of peace, love, and personal freedom, resonated deeply with the Angels' own ethos. The Hells Angels, with their leather jackets and rebellious aura, were drawn to this vortex of change, their presence adding an edge of danger and unpredictability to the mix. The Hells Angels, once seen as fringe figures, were now symbols of a generation's yearning for authenticity and liberation. The Devil's music and the Angels' embrace, from the Rolling Stones to the Grateful Dead. The soundtrack of the counterculture was raw, rebellious, and electrifying. Rock and roll, with its driving rhythms and defiant lyrics, became the anthem of a generation, and the Hells Angels, drawn to its raw energy, forged deep connections with the musicians who defined the era. The Rolling Stones, the bad boys of British rock, found kindred spirits in the Hells Angels. The band, known for their blues-infused sound and their own brushes with controversy, hired the Angels to provide security at their concerts, a decision that would have both exhilarating and tragic consequences. The Grateful Dead, pioneers of psychedelic rock, also embraced the Angels, their shared love of music and free-spirited nature, forging a bond that transcended their differences. Altamont's dark shadow, a counterculture dream, turns deadly. The Altamont Free Concert, held on December 6, 1969, was meant to be a celebration of peace, love, and the enduring spirit of the counterculture. Instead, it descended into chaos and tragedy, a stark reminder that even the most idealistic dreams could be shattered. The Rolling Stones had hired the Hells Angels for security, a decision that would prove disastrous. The Angels, fueled by alcohol, resorted to violence, escalating the already tense atmosphere. Tragedy struck during the Stones' performance when Meredith Hunter was stabbed to death by a Hells Angels member. The incident, captured on film, sent shockwaves through the counterculture, casting a dark shadow over the era. The Death's Head Under Fire trademark battles and the fight for identity. The Hells Angels, fiercely protective of their image and symbols, found themselves in legal battles as their notoriety grew. Their iconic emblem, the Death's Head, became a target for those seeking to profit from their reputation. One high-profile adversary was Disney, which sought to use a similar design in a film. The Hells Angels launched a lawsuit, taking on the corporate giant with determination. These battles highlighted their complex relationship with mainstream society. They were outlaws and a brotherhood, protecting their legacy. Their fight for identity showcased their resilience and determination. Angels in the crosshairs, law enforcement cracks down, fueling the outlaw image. As the Hells Angels' influence expanded, law enforcement agencies across the globe took notice. Their reputation as outlaws, fueled by media portrayals and their own brushes with the law, made them a target for scrutiny and surveillance. Police departments launched investigations, conducted raids, and sought to infiltrate the club's ranks. Their efforts often met with resistance and defiance. These crackdowns, while intended to curb illegal activities, often solidified the Hells Angels' outlaw image. The club viewed these efforts as further evidence of a society that sought to control and constrain them. They responded with defiance and legal maneuvering, challenging search warrants, fighting charges, and asserting their rights. The Hells Angels' clashes with law enforcement became a recurring theme in their story, a cat-and-mouse game played out on the streets and in the courtrooms. They became masters of exploiting legal loopholes, using their knowledge of the law to their advantage. Their legal battles became legendary, their victories celebrated within the club as triumphs against an overreaching system. This ongoing conflict with law enforcement served to solidify the Hells Angels' image as a threat to societal order, a perception that both fascinated and repelled the public. They became symbols of resistance, their battles with the authorities resonating with those who felt marginalized or misunderstood. The Hells Angels, through their unwavering defiance and their willingness to challenge those in power, cemented their status as outlaws, their legend growing with each raid, each arrest, each legal victory. The price of rebellion, high-profile trials, and the Hells Angels' fight for freedom. The Hells Angels' lifestyle, their embrace of freedom and their disdain for convention, often came at a price. Their involvement in criminal activities, whether real or perceived, led to high-profile trials that captivated the public. One such trial, the infamous Lennoxville massacre case in Canada, sent shockwaves through the nation. The trial exposed the dark underbelly of the Hells Angels world, revealing the brutal consequences of their code of loyalty. These trials, often sensationalized by the media, painted a stark picture of the Hells Angels as a dangerous criminal organization. The Hells Angels, through these trials by fire, demonstrated their resilience, their ability to weather the storms of adversity. From coast to coast, North America as a battleground for dominance. The North American continent, a vast expanse of highways and urban jungles, became a key battleground for the Hells Angels as they sought to solidify their dominance. From the sun-drenched streets of Southern California to the gritty back alleys of New York City, the Angels' presence was felt. Their expansion across North America was not without its challenges. Rival motorcycle clubs, sensing the Hells Angels' growing power, sought to protect their own turf, leading to violent confrontations. The Angels, known for their ruthlessness and loyalty, responded in kind, their reputation preceding them. Scandinavia's biker wars, blood on the asphalt in the name of territory. Across the Atlantic, in the seemingly tranquil nations of Scandinavia, a different kind of biker war was brewing. The Hells Angels, seeking to expand their global reach, set their sights on new territories. Their arrival met with fierce resistance from established biker gangs. The Scandinavian biker wars, which raged throughout the 1990s, were characterized by their brutality and the use of military-grade weapons. Car bombs, rocket-propelled grenades, and automatic gunfire became commonplace as the rival gangs fought for control of lucrative smuggling routes. The violence reached a fever pitch in Copenhagen, Denmark in 1996 when a bomb ripped through a Hells Angels clubhouse. The incident sent shockwaves through Danish society and forced the authorities to take drastic action. The Scandinavian biker wars left a lasting scar on the region and solidified the Hells Angels' reputation as a global force. The enduring legacy of the Hells Angels in the 21st century. As the 21st century dawned, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club found themselves at a crossroads. Their reputation as a notorious outlaw motorcycle club was firmly established. Law enforcement agencies continued to target the club, conducting high-profile raids and making arrests. The Hells Angels adapted their tactics, becoming more sophisticated in their operations. They embraced social media, using it to control their narrative and connect with supporters. They organized charity events, raising money for various causes. The Hells Angels remain a complex and often contradictory organization. Their enduring legacy continues to captivate and repel in equal measure. The lure of the open road, a timeless symbol of freedom and rebellion, the roar of an engine, the wind whipping past, the open road stretching out like a ribbon of asphalt, beckoning riders to embrace the unknown. For the Hells Angels, this allure, this primal urge to break free from the constraints of society and chart their own course, has remained a constant throughout their tumultuous history. The motorcycle, once a symbol of practicality and transportation, was transformed by the Hells Angels into an emblem of rebellion, a powerful statement against conformity and the mundane. Their leather vests, adorned with the iconic death's head, became badges of honor, proclaiming their allegiance to a brotherhood that valued freedom above all else. This rebellious spirit, this yearning for liberation from the constraints of societal norms, resonated far beyond the world of motorcycle clubs. Brotherhood and blood. The complex legacy of loyalty and violence. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, throughout its long and storied history, has been inextricably linked with both brotherhood and violence. Their fierce loyalty to one another, their willingness to defend their brothers at all costs, has been a defining characteristic. This loyalty, however, has often manifested itself in acts of violence, their reputation for brutality preceding them wherever they rode. Their clashes with rival motorcycle gangs and their confrontations with law enforcement have left a trail of blood and shattered lives. The Hells Angels, for all their talk of brotherhood and loyalty, have often resorted to violence as a means of settling disputes. This complex legacy, this duality of brotherhood and blood, has made the Hells Angels one of the most enduring and controversial organizations of our time. The ride continues, the Hells Angels' place in the tapestry of time. As the sun sets on another day, casting long shadows across the asphalt, the Hells Angels continue to ride. Their colors, once a symbol of rebellion, have become a fixture in the global landscape, their presence felt from bustling cities to dusty backroads. Their future, like the open road they embrace, remains uncertain. Their legacy, however, is secure. The Hells Angels have earned their place in the tapestry of time. The ride continues.